Hey everybody, it's Geekopedia here. You may know me on Twitter as BJ17. I'm back with you for an all-new video today. So please, before we get started, I want to remind you, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, let you know whenever I release new content. So today, kind of like my Avengers review, I'm doing a review for a movie that came out, I think this past weekend or the last weekend. I think it was the last weekend. And I've been pretty hyped for this for a long time. I've earnestly been waiting to see this film. And I was not disappointed. So, I feel like I gotta review it. It does not deserve to be left out of my reviewing. I gotta review this film. I'm talking about Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus. Yeah, it was released on Netflix. Netflix apparently bought the rights from Nickelodeon, because I guess Nickelodeon didn't want to air it on TV anymore after what happened with Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie. I personally liked the Jungle movie. It just didn't feel like Hey Arnold as it could have been. But of course, that's a whole other video. Since Nickelodeon has already released 3 revivals, Hey Arnold, the Jungle movie, Rocko's Modern Life, Static Cling, and now Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus, I'll probably be doing more reviews on them. And obviously my first review will be about the Invader Zim movie. So, I want to talk about the Invader Zim movie. Other than Dragon Ball Z, my top 2 favorite shows growing up were Dragon Ball Z and Invader Zim. Invader Zim, I was not alive when it was being released. I was only exposed to it years after it was canceled. I did not know the show existed. Actually, I knew it existed. I just didn't really care about it. At that point, I wasn't a really big Nickelodeon fan. I was more of a Disney fan. And through the years, I kind of went away from Disney and went more to Nickelodeon. And that's when I was exposed to Invader Zim. I fell in love with the show instantly. I fell in love with the characters, the style. The style was beautiful. It reminded me of Into the Spider-Verse. It reminded me of Into the Spider-Verse a little bit. Just that style, that colorful style. I fell in love with it instantly. So when I heard that Invader Zim was getting a revival movie, I was excited that my favorite show was finally coming back. And of course, we all know how revivals go. And I am very different about revivals. The only revival I genuinely loved was Samurai Jack Season 5. That's my other favorite show when I was growing up. Dragon Ball Z, Samurai Jack, and Invader Zim. Those are my 3. And other than Samurai Jack, I hadn't really seen a good revival. Obviously, I watched the Rocko movie. I was mixed about that. I'm not really a big Rocko fan. So when I watched the movie, Static Cling, I didn't really understand it as much as I could have. I understood Zim more. So, I'm probably going to binge watch Rocko and rewatch the special before I really decide if I like it or not. So, but of course, I'm here to talk about Zim. Elvis. Sorry. That's my doggy. That's Elvis. So anyway, obviously, when I pressed play on Invader Zim, I'm talking to myself, revivals have a bad taste in people's mouths. Revivals, reboots, remakes, they're all terrible. It seems nobody knows how to do them. That's the one part about the Rocko movie that I liked, because they made fun of all that. That's literally the one biggest part I loved about that movie. And obviously that's another time. So, I went to Zim pretty much expecting to hate it. I was expecting it to do the source injustice. And it kind of made me sad. I knew there might be a Zim movie out that ruins the original show. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. I was wrong about this so much. Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus is an amazing revival. They did it so good. It honestly felt like Invader Zim was never ended in the first place. It felt like it was always there. It just felt like a 1 hour special of the show, which it was. It just felt like if Invader Zim was never canceled. If this came out within the time that the show was out. The highlights, the story was really good. The story, it really gave us something. Some people might not ask this, but I was asking this. What if Zim finds out the tallest don't like him and they're not going to come for him? That movie answers this. Zim figures out that the tallest are not coming for him. And it really does a number on him, to a point that I feel bad for Zim. Zim, these guys are his idols, and he just finally figured out they hate him. It's hard for the guy. And finally, when Dib gives him the chance to have the tallest come, he takes it. And the show, it just really dwells more into Zim's character. Meanwhile, it also sidelines Zim a little bit, which is something that I did not expect. It put the focus more on Dib. Dib is the human. He is Zim's arch nemesis. He's pretty much the only one that knows Zim is an alien and wants to expose him to the world to show that he's not crazy. His dad, who's Professor Membrane. When I originally watched the show, Professor Membrane was my least favorite character, probably because I did not understand him as much. But this movie, I really love Membrane now. Professor Membrane is now one of my top 5 favorite characters in this series now. Because in this movie, it just made him really... I just fell in love with him. So, like I said, it sidelines Zim a little bit and puts the focus more on Dib. Another thing that I didn't really expect, they built on Dib and Membrane's relationship more. Like I said, I didn't really understand Professor Membrane as much as the other characters, but I did know him and Dib had a strained relationship. And I felt bad about that, because Professor Membrane, he's a man of science. He doesn't believe in these ghosts, aliens, as much as Dib does. And this movie is finally shedding that into light. And at first, if you had told me that the movie would be more of Dib's movie before I watched it, I probably wouldn't have been okay with that. I probably would have been a little angry that they're taking it away from the main character. But just how they did it, I'm honestly okay with it. I really did love it. And like I said, the story is fantastic. The characters, it's like we never left them. They're almost exactly who they were. Another thing, the overall look, it felt like Invader Zim, the show. Like I said, it's got that color aesthetic that when you see it, you just fall in love with it. In the movie, they just kept that. A lot of revivals that I watched just throw that away, but not the Invader Zim film. It brought it back and ran wild with it. Spoiler alert, when Zim teleports to the Earth in front of the Urkin Armada, the first thing I noticed are all these beautiful colors. Just these colors everywhere. And I'm just sitting there thinking, oh my god. Oh my gosh. This feels like the Zim that we all know. And I think it was beautiful. The designs, they weren't really different. There were a few changes. I could tell Zim's body was a little bigger. They had inched it out a little bit more than in the original show. I think it's just because we live in a day and age where animation has improved. And they pretty much improved Zim's design. Back when it was first released, the animations for Invader Zim were so amazing. They were so beautiful. And they still are. It's just compared to them today, they're a little outdated. And so they just took the exact same design and just made it a little bit brighter. And I just love it, but overall they kept the design. Like I said, it's Invader Zim. It's like they changed nothing. It's nothing. It's just like they never left the show. My only complaint would be Chair Dib. Now, I love Chair Dib. I thought that was a really cool twist. It reminded me of Lebowski Thor from Avengers Endgame. Like, I just loved that they did that with Dib. They did something twisted him with us. What I'm complaining about is it didn't really play much into the story. The only purpose it had was to motivate Zim to remember Phase 2 of his plan. And literally 5 minutes after we see Chair Dib, Dib is back into shape. And the rest of the movie, he's Dib that we all know and love. My complaint about that is, I felt like it was unneeded. And I would have been, honestly, perfectly alright with it if they kept Dib a chair a little bit longer. Definitely not the whole episode. Definitely not the whole movie. Just a little bit longer to show that it had meaning. But that's literally my only nitpick about this special. Everything else, I give it gold stars. Gold stars. So, I know this is kind of weird, but I kind of want to ask this question. What does Zim get right that all these other revivals get wrong? There's 2 factors that I noticed, and I compared the Zim movie with the Rocco movie. And of course, I'm going to binge watch the Rocco series and rewatch the special. Then I'll probably do the review on the Rocco special. But I just want to ask, what did this Zim movie get right? I think it's because the original people that worked on the show were on this movie. The entire cast was back. The creator himself, the writers, everyone was back. Plus, they made it visually, it looked exactly like the show. And more importantly, they took their time on it. This Zim movie clocked in at over an hour and 15 minutes. The Rocco movie was only 45 minutes. Now, they also brought all the original people back. It's just that the Rocco movie, in some ways, was a lot like the Hey Arnold Jungle movie, where they were trying too hard to be like the original show, but they failed. They just couldn't grasp it. Where Zim, they were trying to be like the original show, but they weren't trying too hard. They weren't trying to forcibly be like the old show. They did it good enough where they were able to capture it. And I feel like that's what the Zim movie did. I think that if you want to bring back a show, you need to take a little inspiration from Zim. This Enter the Florpus, because it really got it right. They really got it right. And I don't understand. We will probably never understand how they did it. It's just the fact that they were dedicated to the property that they were working on. And I think that's really important when you want to bring an old TV show back. So, that's my review, where I want to rank it, with 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. I want to give it a 9.9 out of 10. The reason why I'm not giving it a perfect score is because I feel the Chair Dib plotline was a little bit wasted. And like I said, that's my only nitpick about this movie. So, a 9.9 out of 10. This movie is amazing. If you are a fan of Invader Zim, you gotta watch this movie. You will not have a better time in your life. The humor was amazing. I love comedies. I was literally laughing at every single joke this movie made, because it made me feel like it was the show. So, if you love Zim, I highly recommend you go watch this movie. Or if you've never heard of Zim, or if you just want to watch a good movie, this is definitely for you. Obviously, this movie was made for the fans, but it catches you up to speed immediately. Like the first minute or 2, it catches you up to speed on what's been happening. So, that's about all my review. Obviously, 9.9 out of 10. Please let me know what you thought of this movie in the comments. You can find Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus on Netflix. You can also find Rocco's Modern Life, Static Cling on Netflix. I hope they put the show on Netflix, the actual show. That would be amazing. I would be in heaven. I love Netflix. I think overall Netflix. I plan on purchasing Disney Plus, but I think Netflix is gonna be far more superior because they've got more a diverse group of stuff you can watch. So, just please like this video. Tell me what you think in the comments. This has been Geekopedia, and I will see you next time.